The Angels. This is the weekly general reading for the period of today, December 12th, through Saturday to come December 18th. And there's a lot going on this week. I'll talk about after the cards. It's always my birthday, or somebody in my family's birthday, or like my ex's birthday, on which these things fall. But there's like several things happening on one of my ex's birthdays. The one that I call Prince Charming. Tommy, or Thomas, which means twin, right? The name Thomas means twin. His name was Tommy. He, we're exactly 6 months, 6 years and 6 months apart. So I just turned 50. So I guess he'll be turning 43, 44. 43 or 44 on December 13th. But also on December 13th at 4:53 a.m. Mars will enter Sagittarius, and at 12:52 p.m. Mercury will enter Capricorn. And that's really like the big things that are happening this week, aside from the full moon in Gemini. Now, some of you may know that Sagittarius is actually Gemini's opposite axis. So not only were we 6 months and 6 years and 6 months apart, with me being a Gemini sun and him being a Sagittarius sun, we were mirror twins, so to speak. And again, his first name means twin, and my last name, prior to being married, was Thomas, and so my last name means twin, which has always been interesting. But I've never thought him my twin. I've never understood him to be my twin. I've never been told by any of my guides that he was my twin. He is not the one. But I'm just sharing all this. Anyway, I'll talk about this stuff more, as well as whatever else is going on, the celestial system or the theological calendar after the cards. But first, the cards and the dice. So we're beginning with Yes, Dirty Movie, and Buy Shoes. Spirit says, weekend away. Spend money, which I'm glad to see because I have been. So I'm glad to know it's okay. And also forget it. With the cards, we're beginning with strength. Now, and it's in reverse. Now, with strength in reverse, it doesn't mean that you're not strong. It means there's so much more strength within that you're not using. So we got to get that into use. Represents most directly the sign of Leo, the lion. I was just at a Lions Club party. So I'm out, and I've actually been drinking vodka, just so everybody can know. I'm a vodka drinker. I drink vodka straight. I don't mix it up with any bullshit. Vodka on the rocks, and that's what I've been drinking. Grey Goose on the rocks since 1 o'clock. It's what time now? Let me see what time it is now. It's 5:47. So just so you know, if I'm like different and you say, oh, Queen of Swords is in rare form, that may be why. But I was just reminded of it because, since this card is representative of Lions and of Leo, I just happened to have been at a Lions Club holiday party since 1. All right. So also in reverse, along with strength, is the Ace of Cups. And so this can be about just feeling weak, feeling insecure, feeling emotionally separated, or feeling some sort of emotional loss about something or from someone. All right. The next card is the King of Swords. He is upright, however, and we're going to give this a shuffle. Opening right away to the Hierophant upright, which is all about traditional values and practices and methodologies and situations. Also higher institutions, contracts. Most directly represents the sign of Taurus. And speaking of Taurus, the Knight of Pentacles, also upright. He is a Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, is someone likened to those traits or attributes. And he's somebody he's the only knight of all of the knights, of all the different elements, air, water, earth, all that stuff. This is the only one, the Knight of Pentacles, that always reaches his goal. Like, for example, the Knight of Swords may be all over the place. I mean, you know how we are, right? The air signs. And so not necessarily guaranteed to reach the goal, may move on to something else midway. You can't count on them to actually fulfill the goal. This is the only one of all of the elements of all of the knights that is guaranteed in the tarot to reach their goal. Although the problem with them, they're not perfect either, is that they may take a very long time to get there. They're like slow and steady, wins the race, very methodical, must make a plan. You know what I mean? I'll do one more. It's the Five of Swords, also upright. Can be about conflict. I've also found can be about things like gossiping, misinformation. And when you say about conflict, it doesn't necessarily mean with another person. It can be about one person being conflicted as worse. But our overall energy this week is the Ace of Swords. So now I will pull a few cards that will, for the collective. I've got like different stones here. I shared in one of them of the readings that I did, because I'm doing some January 2022 monthlies. And I shared, these two are actually what they call bloodstones. And I think these are, I think it's important to educate and to share about these right now because it is December, it is the month of Christmas, and these are also known as Blood of Christ stones. So you'll see them as bloodstones and you see them as Blood of Christ stones. And the reason they call them this is because the myth or the story attached to them is that these red speckles, and sometimes they'll be larger. Do you see the red speckles? Sometimes they'll be larger. They'll be like red splotches, are supposedly Christ's blood having dripped on the stone. Do you see the red speckle there? Oh, here's the bigger one. Maybe you can see this. Okay, this is a splotch. Oh, great. This is one of the splotches. Having dripped on the stone, that it sort of became part and one with the stone, Christ's blood. So this is called a bloodstone, or Blood of Christ stone. But I've got a few different kinds of stones here. Carnelian, serpentine. There's another one that sounds like something having to do with snakes. I can't think of the name. But there's aquamarine. There's a whole bunch of stuff here. Anyway, our overall energy is the Ace of Swords, upright. And the card behind it is the Hangman, also upright. Hangman can be about... it can be a very spiritual card, first and foremost. It can also be about letting things go, like a need to let something go, or someone go, or someplace go. And the Ace of Swords... Did you see that? Nothing happened for this to have moved, but it did. The Ace of Swords is about new beginnings, like any ace cards. It's a card of victory. It's a card of clarity, information coming in. But it can also represent not only a new beginning, but a new beginning after some sort of challenges or something. So like often when you see the 10 of Swords, then you'll see the Ace of Swords, because like after some sort of difficulty or challenge or addiction, now I'm finally beginning again. And so I got off to a rough start, but I am off to a new start. All right, so the card that most directly represents the collective this week is Judgment. Surrounding energy, co-workers, close friends, family members, romantic interests, romantic partners, the Page of Wands. Work and finance, the Seven of Wands. Love and relationship, Death. Physical health, the Ace of Pentacles, very nice. And spiritual health, the Tower in reverse. I just think it's interesting. We only have 6 cards here, and we have 3 major arcana cards. That's pretty heavy energy. Can you see them all? Let me move this a little bit. All right, now I think we're in frame and ready to really get started. Is that good there? Yeah. So first I want to start by saying that 2 aces in a reading, which we have right now in a spread, which we have right now with the Ace of Swords is our overall energy, and the Ace of Pentacles showing up in the placement of physical health rather. We do have 2 aces in the spread, and that can be what they say is very auspicious. 2 aces in a spread often can symbolize things like investments, a new home, some sort of financial increase, and it's like, double the effect, definitely more than one. Also, if there's like a move that's planned or something for someone, it can be about buying like furniture, appliances, can be about a business, like a new business or business purchases, like something large, a computer, a new system or something for the business. In a romantic reading, it can definitely predict things that you're going to purchase maybe or do as a couple. Like, for example, if you're moving in together, or first of all, it may signify that you're going to move in together and then, or relocate or something like that. And then if it does, or if you already are planning that, then it may also signify that you're going to purchase certain things together, like large purchases. So with that out of the way, I'll talk about the Ace of Swords alone. Ace of Swords can indicate a new beginning of some sort in your life. And it can be on different areas. Like sometimes this new beginning can be started by some sort of separation, as I mentioned before, a challenge, a difficulty. Sometimes this... it has to do with a relationship or a job. So maybe you're separated from your job, as in you're laid off, you're fired, you quit, or the job, I don't know, it had to close, maybe because of COVID, it just shut its doors, or something having to do with a relationship, like all of a sudden you find yourself separated or you decided to separate. And that can be tied to like anxiety and stuff like that. Those sorts of things can definitely produce anxiety. And we should know that this sort of anxiety producing new beginning can, like underneath it, can definitely be all good, but we can be afraid. So that's what I was trying to explain. Like the kind of energy that comes, that can come with the Ace of Swords is like something difficult or challenging was happening first, but now this is happening. In general, the Ace of Swords calls on us to not be afraid of whatever's happening and to maybe even make a leap, similar to like the Fool, to just trust what's happening. It's about bravery. Bravery is definitely called for when the card shows up. It's about clarity and victory and strength. We started out with strength, remember? It's like, there's a saying, it's an old saying, feel the fear and do it anyway. So you may be afraid, it may be challenging, it may be difficult, whatever it is you're dealing with in connection to the Ace of Swords, but the guidance is it's a new beginning and go for it, right? You still have like a good idea of what must be done and you know what needs to happen. It's just a matter of you not being afraid to do it. So now with that in mind, we're going to move on to the card that most directly represents us during this period, during this week. And it is Major Arcana card Judgment, which in the tarot does most directly represent the planet Pluto and the sign of Scorpio. Now, Judgment can be a card about jumping to conclusions, which I think sometimes Scorpios do. And that is with me having some sort of lived experience with Scorpios and knowing quite a few and being related to quite a few. They tend to like jump to a conclusion. On the plus side, I've often been able to talk them out of those sort of things and say, well, consider this, and they will. They're open to that. So that's positive. But this can be about like making a rash decision. It can be some sort of other choice that's like hastily made. And if you're prone to such things, then this is a clear signal that you need to slow down this week, with this card showing up. Can also be a time of like some real spiritual awakening that's happening, and I think that that's possible too. Not only possible, I think it's a sure thing actually that it will definitely be happening. I was awake and notified at 12:21 this morning that it was 12:21. So obviously it was 12:21 at 12:21, and I just got like some sort of alert to look at my phone, and I was like, oh, okay. And that reminded me that today through 12:21 is likely a portal, so to speak. There's a lot of energy where people will be awakening. And so I definitely think that this is a major factor, or that aspect of judgment, major arcana judgment, is a factor this week. In general, like, if we tend to jump to conclusions, we should be trying to put a stop to that, at least this week. If others are making these sort of rash decisions about us, or someone that we care about, then we also, this card shows up to remind us that we have to keep in mind there's nothing we can do about that. That's their problem, the person who's coming to the rash decision, not ours. So in the surrounding energy, we do have the Page of Wands, which most directly represents an Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. And, the face cards, the court cards, as they call them, can definitely represent an actual literal person in our lives that may be significant or influential this week. So you may have not only this person that the Page of Wands represents, but they may be a direct fire sign. Can also indicate maybe specifically a female that's younger than us. That may be who the Page of Wands is. Wands is about a particular kind of energy that's very like warm, ambitious. These, can be about or tied to like the planet Mars, for example, the red planet. And this is the planet of aggression, of action. And wands are about movement and action and things like that. These people can often be like very, very high achievers if they fall into this placement. And, the energy is similar. It's about, if it's not an actual person, it's an energy that is about movement and can be a distraction sometimes. So it, calls on us to pay particular focus to these things. And in general, it can indicate that things that we started some time ago are like showing back up now, coming to fruition, or requiring our attention for completion or something like that. It can also show a need for new things, new adventures, new approaches, new ideas. And the page just brings us a positive energy that we should try to not only supply, but apply to whatever it is we're doing. And then make sure this is the key. We got to make sure we follow through, though. Because remember I was talking about like the night, the one element that reaches fruition. It's because the other ones, sort of lack follow through. So now, keeping all that in mind, we're moving on to work and finance and the Seven of Wands. So with regard to work, if you've ever wanted to be self-employed, now may be the time to give this like a serious, like great deal of thought and to do your homework on what you have to do in order to start your own business. You definitely have whatever it takes, the wherewithal, to make your own business work. And if you're willing to put in the time and the effort and the energy and whatever, maybe the money, whatever else is required to make it happen, then you can be successful. And remember, our overall energy, the Ace of Wands, is a card of victory. So in this case, that may be to what it's referring. Victory in starting your own business. If you can start your own business while still being employed elsewhere and doing what they call moonlighting, that may be the best idea. It makes sense for you to go ahead and try to do that. With regard to finances specifically, that may not, may or may not be tied to your work, we can expect to increase when we see the Seven of Wands. You end up with, some sort of bonus that you weren't expecting, or something that you own. Maybe you go to sell it. I've been, encouraging people to donate or to sell and all that, like, to be the Queen of Pentacles and clean up their homes. You may find that something that you thought was worth, whatever it was worth, is worth far more than you thought. And money is just on the uptick, upswing, however you want to put it. But we should be sensible about how we use it or how we invest it. And we should think long term, in this regard. So moving on to love and relationship, we have death, which most directly represents the sign of Scorpio. And it doesn't necessarily mean, however, that your relationship is dead. But if you're clinging to one that in which you're unhappy, maybe deeply unhappy, this relationship needs to go, or you're clinging to one where the other person is miserable, but you just don't want to give up or let it go, you need to. I was gonna beat around the bush, but you know what? I decided not to. You need to, because like sometimes we stay in relationships because we just don't want to be alone. We hate being alone. We hate that's not a fair reason or a logical reason to stay in a relationship. We need to have like honest conversations with our partners and decide what we're going to do. Like where do we go from here, if anywhere? And one of the things that we may come up with is we're going nowhere, and that's fast. And we need to let it go, like the hangman suggests. Okay? Yeah. So that is death. I'm trying to think. Does it have a separate message if you're single? Not really. If you're single, death is a card of change and transformation. So you may want to change and transform from being single to being somebody who's, getting out and meeting people and mingling and, making new friends and possibly love interests or partners, and then not being single. So, moving on to physical health, we have the Ace of Pentacles. And this is a great time to start or try like a new healthcare approach, especially like things like preventive care. Like I don't have high blood pressure. This is a true story. I do not have high blood pressure, but my blood pressure was like back and forth. Like sometimes I would go to the doctor, and he'd be like 120/70, which is pretty much perfect. But then sometimes I would go in and he would be like, this is 145/80. This is a concern. And then finally he said to me, your blood pressure is all over the place. I said, yes, I realize this. And he said, would you like to go on something that can sort of regulate it? Not like you need blood pressure medicine because you have high blood pressure, but this can keep you sort of even keel. And I said, okay. And so I started taking this pill. And so I forgot to take the pill the other day. And I didn't forget, but I had a doctor's appointment and I guess I forgot. The doctor's appointment was at 9:15 in the fucking morning. Okay. So I ran out the door and I was like, oh shit, I didn't take my medicine this morning because I was in such a rush. But sure enough, I got to the doctor's office. He hooked me up to the thing and he was like 120/70. And I'm like, oh, I was like a little nervous because I didn't even take my medicine this morning. He said, that's pretty good for somebody that didn't take their medicine. So long story short, this medicine that I take is just to make sure that I don't get high blood pressure. It is preventative. You get it? Same thing is true of things like mammogram, colonoscopy. You're doing these tests to see where you are. Doesn't mean you have these diseases. And then when you find out where you are, then you can act accordingly. So what this card, Ace of Pentacles, means in this position is that we should do things, find out where we are, and then act accordingly. So exercising, eating properly, maybe getting these examinations, right? Going to the doctor, all this sort of stuff is preventative. Making sure we get enough sleep. I don't know what else. You guys get the idea. This is what the Ace of Pentacles is about. It's like, also for those of you who do believe in like visiting a healer of some sort, you may want to look into a new one, maybe a new type of healer. And then last but not least, we have the Tower. And it is reversed. So when the Tower is reversed, it's like it lessens the strength of the Tower versus when it's upright. But as with the upright meeting, the reverse Tower tells us that this is a time to stay very, very positive, right? Keep a positive attitude to the extent that we can, as much as possible, regardless of whatever is happening around us. Count your blessings and don't take things like too personally or too seriously. There's going to be a lot of new insights and information and understandings that are coming in, that we're coming into, and it can be very quickly. Like 1 minute we're clueless, and the next minute we're coming into this new information. Maybe this is not definite, but maybe it will be tied to this week's full moon in Gemini, but maybe not. You know, there could be other reasons why we come into clarity, like the fact, again, that on the 13th, several major transits occur, like three different transits. That may be what gives us information. Whatever it is, we just got to stay open, alert, receptive, and positive. Those are the messages for this week from the tarot. I'm actually going to pull a couple of clarifiers from here, beginning with an overall energy of the Ace of Pentacles, the inflow of abundance, a promising business venture, and important documents or contracts. And behind the Ace of Pentacles, we have the Page of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles, followed by the Two of Cups. All of these are in reverse. And then another Ace of Pentacles. So I think that what this is saying is that abundance is in the cards, like literally in the cards for this week, but it's also like very near, like this would probably go into next week too. So because this is like delayed, it's in reverse, it's probably delayed. Some really nice cards that are here in reverse. Let's see what the next one is. All of these. All right, so it's the Page of Wands, the Queen of Cups, another Ace of Pentacles, the Two of Cups, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Page of Pentacles. All very nearby to this third ace that we're receiving, a second Ace of Pentacles. So joining the Judgment card for this week, as far as the card that most directly represent us, we have the World. So something has come full circle, something is coming to an end. It will not exist in the same way that it does anymore. It could be a job, it could be a relationship, it could be a living condition. A job well done, joy, contentment, and gratitude in the path toward enlightenment. For me, this is card number 21, so I think that's significant too. Today's the 12th again. Today's 12/12/21. And I do, again, feel that there is some sort of portal, so to speak. I'm not really a fan of that word, but an increased energy period between now and the 21st, which is also the winter solstice, 12/21/21. Where there will be increased activation and ascension and spiritual growth and the completion of karma, which is one of the things the World represents. So it's, for me, this card is similar, very similar to the Tower in that, you know, things are coming to a complete end. It's very karmic and there's like nothing we can do about it. But as a 3, it requires patience, like all the other 3s. Whereas the Tower is abrupt and you don't really necessarily get time to even catch your breath as to what's happening. So in surrounding energy, maybe something involving our coworkers, close friends, family members, love interests, or partners. Joining the Page of Wands may be with regard to something that started a long time ago that we're intended to complete now, maybe in accordance with the World, is the Five of Cups. Things not turning out the way you'd hope. Not seeing the positive in a situation and crying over spilled milk. Somebody, whether it's us or someone close to us, it may very well not be us, but rather be someone close to us in one of the categories, so to speak, that I described a moment ago. Again, close friends, family members, coworkers. Maybe feeling down, depressed, pessimistic about a situation. But again, something is coming up to be dealt with, to be handled from our past, maybe involving a direct fire sign, an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. In our work and finance, joining the Seven of Wands, we have the Seven of Pentacles. Seeds well planted. It means we've been doing the things we need to do in order to bring whatever it is we're trying to bring about. A temporary pause in action. It may feel in the meantime like nothing's happening. You may be saying, I did all this work and then now what? Nothing's growing from it. That's not true. So any worry associated with that is unnecessary. You are in a period of manifestation. You are manifesting. Love and relationship. Ace of Pentacles. Skilled work is rewarded. Learning all there is to know about a topic and maybe even going back to school. It joins death. So again, death is about change, transition, and the Eight of Pentacles is about you putting in the effort to make that change and transition come about, if you're so willing to do that. Joining the Ace of Pentacles with our physical health, we have the Three of Pentacles. So something connected to work. The Three of Pentacles is the worker energy. Your most satisfying and profitable career comes from following your passions, listening to your heart, and doing what brings you joy. Your life purpose is best fulfilled by allowing your true talents and true self to shine forth out into the world. But directly, with regard to health, physical health, this card says that you're likely to show some sort of positive increase in your health, but this is not necessarily, or not likely as a result of like some sort of miracle or something that just happened. It's the result of work. Again, the Three of Pentacles represents a worker energy. So it's a result of the work that you've been doing specifically to improve your health. This card shows that you are on the right track and you should keep doing what it is you've been doing. Joining the Tower in spiritual health, we have Major Arcana card 7, the Chariot. You can successfully balance various or opposing energies at once through determination and focus. You've earned the rewards and recognition that you are receiving. So the Chariot is about movement, metaphoric and literal, metaphysical and physical, I guess, and most directly represents the sign of Cancer in the tarot. In terms of spirituality, it says that you may travel, and this can even be locally. It doesn't mean you have to go like a great distance or whatever. You may travel, even locally, to places that can help you to increase your spiritual awareness, and will be, you'll be like in a place where you're like, or in a physical place where you are very receptive to learning a lot, and you will learn a lot and be very quickly about these spiritual matters. Don't be afraid to like attend seminars and talks about spiritual subjects, even if they seem like unfamiliar or outside of your usual, circle of learning. You can definitely benefit in great ways that maybe you currently can't imagine because you're not familiar with these things. If you try these new things, and this can be a very profound time for you. So again, I feel that not just today and not just 12/21, but from today through 12/21, we are in a particular type of energy that some may refer to as a portal, and it's a very good time for you to do this. Aside from that, I did want to share with you guys that today, on the Christian calendar, is the feast day of Our Lady of Guadalupe. And for more on that, I went to www.franciscanmedia.org. The feast in honor of Our Lady of Guadalupe goes back to the 16th century. Chronicles of that period tell us the story. A poor Indian named Kuwahatohuac was baptized and given the name Juan Diego. He was 57 years old and a widower, and he lived in a small village near Mexico City. On Saturday morning, December 9th, in the year 1531, which is like 613, sort of transposed or mixed up, right? 1531, of course, 15 equals 6, and 31, the other way around. 13 is 13, which equals 19 in total, like father. He was on his way to a nearby barrio, or ghetto neighborhood, to attend a mass in honor of Our Lady, Mary, right? Maria, Magdalena, or Altagracia, or whatever, right? So Juan was walking by a hill called Tepeyac when he heard beautiful music like a warbling of birds. A radiant cloud appeared, and within it stood an Indian maiden dressed like an Aztec princess. The lady spoke to him in his own language and sent him to the Bishop of Mexico, a Franciscan named Zumarraga. The bishop was to build a chapel in the place where the lady had appeared. Eventually, the bishop told Juan that to have the lady give him a sign. About this same time, Juan's uncle became seriously ill. This led poor Juan to try to avoid the lady. Nevertheless, the lady found Juan, assured him that his uncle would recover, and provided roses for Juan to carry to the bishop in his cape, or tilma. On December 12th, when Juan Diego opened his tilma on the bishop's presence, the roses fell to the ground and the bishop sank to his knees. On the tilma, where the roses had been, appeared an image of Mary, exactly as she had appeared at the hill of Tepeyac. Mary's appearance to Juan Diego as one of his people is a powerful reminder that Mary and the God who sent her accept all peoples. In the context of the sometimes rude and cruel treatment of the Indians by the Spaniards, the apparition was a rebuke to the Spaniards and an event of vast significance for the indigenous population. While a number of them had converted before this incident, they now came in droves. According to a contemporary chronicler, 9 million Indians became Catholic in a very short time. In these days, when we hear so much about God's preferential option for the poor, Our Lady of Guadalupe cries out to us that God's love for and identification with the poor is an age-old truth that stems from the gospel itself. Our Lady of Guadalupe is the patron saint of the Americas and Mexico. In addition to that, we have some things happening on the planetary calendar, which I mentioned at the beginning. So again, on December 13th at 4:53 a.m., Mars, ruler of Aries in Scorpio, or at least the one of the rulers of Scorpio, enters the esoteric ruler of Scorpio, enters the sign of Capricorn. Mars enters Sagittarius, 0 degrees Sagittarius. But also on the 13th at 12:52 p.m., Mercury, ruler of the signs of Gemini and Virgo, enters Capricorn, 0 degrees Capricorn. And then on the 18th, the last day for which this reading is, at 11:35 p.m., will occur the full moon in Gemini, 27 degrees Gemini. Hope you guys have enjoyed the reading. Please do like, share, subscribe, and comment. I do appreciate it. Namaste.